Hello. What's up, everybody? This is Jez7780 with another What Grinds My Gears, episode 19. No date or February 22nd, 2019. So basically, what this is going to be is a recap. I saw all three conferences, shows, jibber jabber, all this other stuff over E3 the last couple of days, but I'm going to keep it about the big three and how they compare to each other and just my opinion on what's the deal with basically where they're going, because obviously they are going in different directions, every single one of them. And we're going to talk about that because here, let me jump into my thing here. And yeah, we're going to talk about that, see how where it goes. I had a couple of notes basically what I wanted to do. And so we're going to start. I'm not going to recap what was shown and stuff, but I'm going to use what was shown as examples in relation and combinations and relationships compared to each other and show and try to prove a point here. So my point I tweeted out earlier, basically, I should probably look at it because I want to, try to say it word for word, but what I said was the three of them, Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, are all have their priorities. And what I said was Microsoft is focused on games as a service, long-term monetization, and games as a platform. Sony is focused on games as an art and a narrative, just like how movies are produced. And Nintendo is focused on getting all their legacy IPs, whether they were Wii U ports or whatever they were, on the Switch and have their games mobilized. So basically, that's the gist that I got from all three of them in their show. Sony has taken the, after the Sony's conference, I gave my opinions on Microsoft's conference, so I'll just do a little summary on Sony and whatever Nintendo had that thing. But basically, the Sony conference or showcase. What's up, Game Over? So, the showcase that they had, they named it showcase, not a press conference. Basically, opened up in a church. Take me to church, and it was, and they introduced, had a little music, and then it went through The Last of Us 2 gameplay, and it was basically a replica. They tried to set it up with the lights, similar to how it was in the game as a transition. And I noticed that Sony's been doing this, especially with PSX and prior. They've been trying to. What's up, everybody? They've been trying to kind of present their games as a deep dive, as a movie, bigger than kind of what a game is. Like, you just see a game, it's like, oh, I can't wait to grab the control and just shoot. And what Sony is doing is trying to build the emotion, the attachment to the characters, interviewing the actors, because now they're basically using real actors to portray these characters and interviewing them and the experience and having them on stage. And this wasn't, and I was looking, they're doing that kind of now, but they also did it at PSX and kind of getting everybody excited, just like how you will promote a movie. Basically, you want to set up the environment, set up the idea, set up, and then show the gameplay and get people involved emotionally to their game and interested in that way, rather than trying to get like, oh, look at this cool thing. While they had amazing things, that's just basically what they're trying to do with a lot of especially with their Worldwide Studios games. They're basically kind of presenting them as they would present a movie. And I thought it was really cool to transition. The thing, though, that after that, then they went to like kind of the Inside Xbox, well, basically like an interview, like a newsstand, and then kind of went through that. And I think that broke, because after The Last of Us 2 gameplay, which looked absolutely amazing, there is nothing that can touch those animations and that visceral feel from that game. And that game is going to set another standard that God of War did, and they know that. That's why they're just doing what they're doing. Sony has slowed down their pace of announcing so much crap and just so many games. Now they're just like, guys, this is what we got. We got these solid pillars of games. Let's just focus on the games and show them, because they know that these games cannot be touched right now. Last of Us 2 looked absolutely amazing. But then to go and break it up as an intermission right after they showed one trailer of gameplay was a bit much. Like, I think overall the Sony conference pacing was kind of strange. They really did focus on those 4 games. They didn't have a lot of other third-party announcements. Like Red Dead Redemption was not even there. They didn't really use any indie reels, any kind of list of games or anything like that. They used their stage to show their worldwide studios games and had a couple of third-party announcements like the Neo 2 exclusive or the Neo 2 game. And then, then some Call of Duty, which I was amazed. I was like, wow, that PlayStation Plus month. Like I said before, you put your best foot forward. So Microsoft tried to do that. They put Fallout in Games Pass, and they also put Elder Scrolls. Okay. But, dropping Black Ops 3 with, if you pre-order Black Ops 4, you get the new maps in Black Ops 3 to play before 4. And then it's like, if you don't have Black Ops 3, here it is for PlayStation Plus. So you got XCOM, Black Ops 3, and Trials HD, which they announced a sequel to Trials HD. Boom, that is some PS Plus. Like, damn, let me sign up for that. Especially it's $50 this month too. You're gonna get those games right now. Again, selling their services of the PSN, like making it the best. Like, go get it right now. And that was the main gist that I got from Sony's conference, is like, these games, you want to own a PlayStation for these games. They're only there. And they really didn't go crazy with like exclusive game, worldwide studios exclusive. Like, they just presented it real low-key casual, showing. You know what? I even noticed, I think Spider-Man didn't even have like a release date after it. Even though we know the release date for Spider-Man, it didn't even like go like buy that. It was presented very kind of just movie like just like sort of like not very kind of, not like gaming like the traditional kind of game MO that we get pre-order now, order here. It was very just kind of seamless, very kind of mature. And I think that's where Sony's going with this, is that they're really taking their games, they're very mature tones, and just, and you could say Spider-Man, whatever, but even that, like, they're taking their games and they're making them for the mature, like, they're just very mature. They're getting out of the whole gamers and Doritos and bro shooters and all this other stuff. Well, they got that with Destiny and Call of Duty and stuff. Their games and the way they present them, it has been very kind of, this is a mature, give me my my scotch and let me sit here with an ice cube and tell me about games. Like, let me tell you a story in front of the fireplace about this game. And very, very mature like games. And I think it's a good way to present games, because I think as we get older and we play these games, we're familiar with the movie presentation. And I think it was done well. I just think the pacing was bad, and they didn't show that many games. They did say and he even said it into that intermission. Like, Sean Layden said that they weren't going to have these bang, like you're not going to get bang surprises and all this other stuff. And you know what? You can still look at it as complacency. They're in the lead. What's up? Don't call me Danny. You could look at it as that they're in the lead. They're complacent, but they're not in a rush. They're slowing it down. Microsoft is in the rush. They're the ones that have to kind of tell everybody to calm down, everybody, calm down. We're definitely making the next console. We got studios. Our games. Here's a sneak peek of Halo, which was just like a sample. That wasn't even in game. That was just some sort of game engine demonstration of the Slipspace engine. That's not even a game. That is just some tease trailer, whatever. And Halo seems to be years out, like 2 and 3 years out. And I'm convinced that Halo Infinite is basically a platform. It's going to be like Halo Minecraft. It's going to be the Halo game that you build maps for, you add content to. It grows over years and years and years. You're not getting your snapshot Halo 6, snapshot Halo 7, snapshot Halo 8. get your story. You're not going to get that. You're going to get this open environment, open world, or open just platform that they're just going to add Flutter content in. That's games as a service, just like Sea of Thieves. It's just there's a boat, there's a sea, and we're just going to add feature, add content, add enemies, add this, add story elements. That's your next Halo. This is my fear of we're not getting how God of War is God of War. We're not getting those games anymore from Microsoft. Now, maybe Gears is be the last one like that, Gears 5. I think after Gears 5, it's going to be just Gears Infinite. And that's my speculation. They want their games as a platform because they don't have that many exclusive games right now. And maybe they have these other guys make some sort of like lower end one-off indie type or like one-off games and have their big tentpole games like Forza, Halo, and Gears be these kind of platforms like Minecraft. But, the studio thing, Microsoft is like trying to stop the panic. But Sony is slowing it all down. And it's like, yo, here's some games, like chill, here it is. And the gameplay of these games, Ghost of Tsushima and Spider-Man and Last of Us 2, and I'm missing one out right there. But those three, oh my God, there is nothing that can touch those three games right now. And the fact that those games are only playable on a console, you're going to go get that console. And that's the main takeaway from Sony's thing is they said, this is why you own a PlayStation. This is why you should buy a PlayStation. And that's been always their message. Microsoft, again, that's not their goal. Their goal is not to say you're not going to leave that theater and go buy an Xbox. You're not going to. Especially when they're saying that, they don't care where you play. So I'm excited after seeing and I'll throw into Nintendo, but I'm excited for Microsoft gaming, and my excitement for the Xbox console is gone. Like, it's done. It's over. And I just have to say to people out there, if you prefer to play on an Xbox console, you enjoy it. Microsoft will probably they just said they'll probably announce one next year, but they're going to make the console for the people that prefer to play. But do you need to play on an Xbox console? No. And what I have to say about that is I understand the strategy of that coming out of both of these E3s. Sony makes you need a PlayStation to play those games. And they know that. They cherish their IP, and that's why they're selling it. They're getting you involved because they want you to be emotionally attached to their IP and the stories they're trying to tell, because you're going to buy story 2, story 3, story 4, story 5, expansion stories. Sony's just going to have their studios just keep giving you more and more story and more just building out these characters. That's what they're going to do. Even in God of War, for amazing as it is, that is just the tip of the iceberg of what that world entails. Just like they did with Halo back in the day. They teased other races, they teased other planets, there were other Halo rings, and they kept giving you more of the lore. But Microsoft is looking at it as a games as a service. They want this platform that they could just inject. They could inject basically content to it, and that's the game that they do. They don't have to redevelop and say, here it is in snippets. They just want to put it out there and have it evolve. And that's kind of as you're paying subscription fees and things like that. My problem with that is that I don't want to be paying for a service I don't know what the hell I'm getting. Just like Game Pass. You're going to subscribe to Game Pass, but you don't know what games you're getting next month. You don't know the release dates of their first party IP games. You don't know that stuff. So you're basically doing a subscription where you don't know the quality and you don't know the content that you're getting. I don't know if people really like that type of model. And I don't think people will stay subscribed to such a model that they don't know what they're getting. It's a crapshoot every month. I understand with Netflix, you subscribe to that. You don't know what movies are coming, but there are other ways to see those movies. And all of a sudden they show up on Netflix, like Coco showed up on Netflix, like I think what was like Power Rangers showed up in Hulu and things like that, but you're not subscribing to see Power Rangers for the first time or for those movies for the next time. So what they do is that they give you their seasons of their shows, just like how movie studios send out their movies, Avengers 1, Avengers 2. Stranger Things season 1, season 2. That's how Sony's feeding it to you. But Microsoft, on the other hand, is just kind of making you blindly subscribe to a games as a service, but you don't know what's coming. And I think that they're very bad in the messaging of what laying the roadmap out for people. Like that Crackdown delay is kind of a sham because they told you in February that Crackdown was part of the Game Pass lineup. And then all of a sudden, Crackdown now has moved to February. So if you planned on subscribing to Game Pass for the year, oh, wow, $120 is going to give me these 3 games. Well, guess what? Crackdown's now out of that. And now you're getting Forza, but Crackdown is not in it. So game delays could even affect your subscription. And I said that before. So I really just feel that that's the 2 different areas they're going in. Sony's delivering you like movie-like experiences, and Microsoft's trying to give you kind of the monetization. They want to give you only like 2 or 3 games and say, we'll add some more content later on and all this other stuff. But the console itself, that's where my problem has always lied with Microsoft. And there's nothing to complain about anymore. It's over. Like, it's done. It's done. And I just want to say to people out there that like Xbox One, Xbox this, it's over. There's no sense fighting for it anymore because it's over, guys. You can't be like, oh yeah, it's going to PC. Oh yeah, it's going to stream. Oh yeah, it's going everywhere. And then still kind of promote the plastic that's underneath your TV. Because the plastic underneath your TV is dead. It's done. It's over. Wrap it up. If you're excited to prefer to play on there, it is there for you to play. But if you're going to cheer on that it's coming back, that it's going to compete, no, Microsoft is not competing at that level anymore. They made it so clear, and E3 has made it even clearer. They are not competing at the console. They don't care about the core console owner. They just want to keep you complacent and keep you around while they go and do all their other things. And the problem that I have with how the 2 of them are handling it is Sony has given you the purpose of a console is a closed system environment for developers to focus on and make games for it. Microsoft has broken that. Now Xbox is a platform, and Xbox means PC, any type of configuration, the plastic under your box, the old piece of shit original Xbox, the S that they have that can't even run fucking games at 1080p, and now you got the best place to play with the X. The S is the worst place to play. But now you got all these type of that's Xbox for you. It's this whole fucking world out there of PC configuration, soup to nuts, from 780s to 1080is on Windows Store. And even sometimes, who the hell knows? Steam. Sometimes their games go to Steam. It's all over the place. Cuphead's on Steam. But the vision of that, as being excited for the Xbox console, I don't know how you can. If you preferred it going in, you preferred it going out, and you will prefer it until they do not make the hardware anymore. But you cannot go around saying that it's back, it's coming back. It is done. The game has changed. And the problem that I have is if they keep giving you hardware, and if they keep trying to sell you next iterations of hardware, here's a more powerful one next year, and here's a more powerful one next year, you need to understand that hardware that you bought, that X, that DirectX 12 and a chip that's on your console is not being focused on in development. The Xbox is not the developing platform. They are developing it for PC and porting it over. That's the reality of it. They are not focused on it. Just look at the games coming out on, if they focus on 4 teraflops or 1.7 teraflops, 2. Whatever the hell it is, between the Slim and the S, those games are running on pros. They're running on a weaker hardware than the X. A weaker hardware than the X. And they look like that. And you can't say, oh, well, those might be trailers. God of War is an example of that. Days Gone is an example of that. Just look at the first party that lines up. Even Until Dawn looked incredible. Like, these games look amazing because the developers are focused on hardware, which is the reason why console gaming exists. Console gaming exists because it's a closed, and Seamus Blackley quoted that this is a closed environment. So when Sony drops PlayStation 5, you know that all their dev team will be focusing on the hardware of that game. And the Pro itself and the S, and the Pro and the Slim of the PlayStation show, and even the Switch is running on a mobile Tegra processor and could run a game like Zelda, could run a game looking like that, with physics and everything, because that game was tailor-made for the hardware. And just like all the other Nintendo products, the Nintendo games are made for that hardware. And if you have somebody focusing on a specialized hardware, they're going to get the maximum potential out of it. But Microsoft is trying to sell you stuff, like selling you, just like, I'm going to give you an example. They're trying to sell you hardware just like they try to sell you PC hardware. Oh, this is an i3. This is an i5. This is an i7 processor. This has 250 gigabytes of RAM. This has 128 gigabytes of RAM. Well, will I know a difference, sir, if I buy the i5 over the i7? Well, the i7 might give you faster computation. How do I know I'm using the i7's power? Or how do I know that 250 megabytes of RAM, it really is being utilized? Like, you're just selling specs, but the utilization of those specs is not demonstrated in the content. You're not going to see faster typing with Word if you have an i7 over an i5. You're not going to see the calculator app run faster if you have an i7 over an i5. So Microsoft is playing the PC game with the Xbox group. And if everybody wants to stick around and play the specs game, go play it. Because if the content is what you play, you don't play specs. And that's the problem I have with the direction that Microsoft has been going with this, is because they're talking specs, they're talking bullshit, they're talking this stuff, and the content is not there. If you want to be a games as a service, you need to have a platform that is desirable. Sea of Thieves will have some people playing on it, but Sea of Thieves is not the Fortnite. You need to come out with your Fortnite, with your Minecraft. You need to come out with polished open worlds or things that you want people to invest in. Nobody's going to pay you a service if the game sucks. And they need to get that straight. And their quality control, which has been shaky, really needs to be evaluated when they utilize these next 5 studios that they purchased. And that's what I got out of E3, is just the focus of Microsoft right now. It's nice to see that they're invested in Microsoft gaming, but it is all apparent. The console to them is just a way to satisfy the TV customer. And the Xbox core, the merchandising, Xbox, it's Xbox platform. It is not the Xbox console. It's done. It is finished. So if you're excited for Xbox and go bleed green and all that other stuff, that is a fading out group right there, because they are trying right now to just keep you satisfied and hold on till they release more hardware and just keep leapfrogging you back and forth. And that's what they're going to do to you. Whereas the Sony platform, the Sony console, is being maximized right now with the content, and the content has shown. Now, for the conferences, Microsoft had a much better conference than Sony did. But the way I evaluated the conferences, and I believe I gave like the Sony a 9 and Microsoft an 85, I do think that Microsoft was just neck and neck. But the way I evaluate the conferences of the two of them, and I'm not talking about Nintendo just yet, but the two of them, is that I look at them at, this was your showcase. This was your show. You cannot utilize other people's work to present on your show. So what you have presented as a console manufacturer, if EA is out there going, hey, look, we're going to bring, oh, here's NBA 2K18. It's like, well, wait a second, NBA. Oh, well, we do all the sports. No, EA shows what EA makes. Microsoft should show what they make. Sony shows what they make. Nintendo shows what they make. So I look at it for what you brought to your platform, because that's what the whole conference is usually about. You could show third party, that's fine, but you shouldn't win because you showed more third party on your stage, even though some of them you didn't even have marketing rights to, which is kind of, I don't even care about the marketing rights, because it doesn't matter. If it's not giving me new content or exclusive content for a platform, then whoever shows it on stage doesn't matter. Like the fact that Quantum Break game Control showed up on Sony stage, I don't, whatever. Yeah, the game looks great. Can't wait to play it. It doesn't matter where, but Sony doesn't get a win because they showed Control. Now, Neo 2, that's an exclusive to that platform. Plus, two other platform, Square Enix announced two other games early on in the day, one from Platinum Games that was exclusive. So they got two more exclusives early in the day. But that was from third party. That was not at their conference. So the thing I say is Microsoft doesn't get a win because they showed they didn't even show Anthem, but like they showed Division 2. And then they showed Division 2 and they showed 20 more games. What Microsoft showed, I liked Halo. What I really liked was Gears of War. And Gears of War 5, even though the graphics look good, it looked great, I like where the story is going. That is the kind of level of game that you need to put, and we need more of them. So, and I know Halo might be that. I hope Halo's not compromised for whatever Infinite is, but you need to have that level of Gears, because you could say Gears 5, look that up and line it up with Last of Us and that kind of tier of game. And Microsoft needs to be bringing those type of games. And Forza Horizon 4 looked great. I was disappointed with the location because now it just looks like more like 3. But again, they changed it around. I don't know if they announced how many cars are in it, but now Forza is an open world platform. Like it is an open world kind of racing kind of on that way. It is not the single player and then multiplayer there. So they're changing their games to support the games as a service model, which, was my fear. And, we'll see where it goes from it, where Sony is being more traditional. And the thing I say is we all got to jump back to 2013 and go, and this horrible year that everybody had with the Xbox and all that other stuff. And look, Microsoft was trying to do too much. You could trade it in, you could go here, you could go there, you could do this, you could do that, and it completely discouraged the consumer. And Sony made the simple videos, I can hand this to you and there's your game. Microsoft now is, again, I feel like they're doing too much. They're saying too much. They talked about AI, Microsoft AI, and just trying to throw all the kind of terms that they've been talking about in the Windows platform and all that technological stuff and talking about it as Xbox. And the thing is just like we saw with Crackdown, the fact that Microsoft's trying to shove cloud up Crackdown's ass is the reason why it's not working and it keeps getting delayed. And this is the problem they have. They're trying to shove their concepts. And I said this before, just like he said at the end of that conference, Microsoft AI, yeah, we're making another console. What Microsoft is doing is they're using their games as guinea pigs for their services and for their message. And the reason why is because they want developers to utilize their tools and their delivery systems in their own games. Just like how Ubisoft uses Azure for Rainbow Six. They were like, wow, look at the power of the cloud. Look at this off computation that's going on in the cloud. You should use that in your next game, EA. Maybe Battlefield 7, maybe Battlefield 6 has cloud destructibility like in Crackdown because they're using Microsoft's Azure service because they saw how well it worked in Crackdown. That's the kind of message that they want to do. That's their goal. And they only could do it with their own IP because nobody else wants to give them a time of day. So they have to sacrifice their IP, their games, their game studios to demonstrate, to lead on that front, to get development to jump on board. And I was really surprised that there was no third-party developer. I knew that no third-party developer would ever do it, but I was very surprised that Microsoft didn't pay somebody to do it to kind of lead the way with Game Pass, is having like Tomb Raider day one, like at the first third-party day one Game Pass game. And I was surprised they didn't. Just like they did Shadow Awards, like using the first as the X with assets and stuff like that. And nobody else has since then. But using kind of one of the third-party games as one of their kind of, wow, look, third party supporting Game Pass day one. It doesn't. And then when you see EA doing it, everybody got their own stuff. Like, people are not silly. You know, people like EA is not going to say, hey, Microsoft, hey, go take our EA Game Pass and just put it into your Xbox Game Pass. No, because then EA loses to go and paying Microsoft to run that service. But if EA, and they're probably already paying them just to be on that platform, but EA runs their own ship and their own delivery methods, just like Uplay and just like Origin. And just like, what is the other one? Activision's using Blizzard's, the Blizzard's thing. Everybody's using their own thing because everybody wants full control and full monetization of everything from soup to nuts. So Microsoft is just competing against that, which they're competing on that end. So technically they're competing with Origin. They're competing with Ubisoft. They're competing with Activision's dedicated service. Activision's not using and they're trying to use their stuff. And that's, it is what it is. It's just so daunting and confusing. And really what it all amounts to is, as an Xbox fan, if you're an Xbox console owner and you're back to the waiting game. And that is my final thing on just the comparison. And then I'm going to now go into Sony's thing. But with Microsoft's thing was all that talk, all that glitz and glamour. It was make or break for Microsoft. They basically, what they did was they pulled out their ace and they said, we bought 5 studios. Of those 5 studios, I will have to say Playground Games and Ninja Theory are excellent pickups. Undead Labs, 2 games in 10 years, and janky, I don't know. And don't tell me they got the power of Microsoft behind them, because they always have had Microsoft behind them. And I thought State of Decay 2 was supposed to have the full budget that was supposed to have. I guess not. So Microsoft had to buy them to get a third party, to get a $60 game. Maybe we get a $60 State of Decay 3 now because Microsoft bought them. But I bet you the next State of Decay 3 is going to be like an open world again service, kind of open area, and dedicated service on Azure. Probably what we thought State of Decay 2 should have been. Now we'll get it probably State of Decay 3. That's what they're probably working on. But Undead, you know what? That's okay, whatever. I think the Collective is going to be great. That's going to be a big studio. That might be another tentpole game, like on the level of Gears of War, Halo. But again, I don't know. I don't know a game. We don't even see a trailer. Wait to next E3, right? Those games are not coming this year. There's no trailers coming this year. We wait. The next E3, you might see what some of those studios are working on. Hey, last year we announced 5 studios. Here's what they've been working on. And maybe you see a trailer or 2. But that's you're still left. Yeah, and the compulsion too. Like that We Happy Few game preview game looked like BioShock, then it wasn't a survival thing. It's so weird. It doesn't look that studio, I don't know what. Those are cheap pickups. And you got to look at the amount of, look at the level of these studios, that they picked up. They didn't pick up like the Volition or like any kind of again, people that have like a long legacy of making amazing games. Like Ninja Theory is kind of the only one. Playground's been making games for them. But the other 2 are really kind of indie studios, Undead Labs and the other one. And you got to remember, Microsoft got rid of their shit to get this. So like you had the people that were making, you had the people that made Project Spark. That studio's gone. The guys that made Twisted Pixel, gone. Twisted Pixel playing with all those indie games. You got to look at what they got rid of, and now they're kind of patching in now with these 5 studios. You can't be like, oh man, they had these studios from the beginning, and now they added 5 more. No, they fucking fired everybody. Not one of those studios there are probably the size of Lionhead, maybe Playground. But what they cut with Lionhead Studios, like, Shit. None of those studios, except maybe Playground, is the only one that might be around the same level. The other ones aren't. And Ninja Theory probably just said we need to survive. They were going out of business, and they made this game as a statement. And they weren't big partners with Microsoft. They were making games for PlayStation. They put their game out on PlayStation first. And then all of a sudden, Microsoft played it a year later and said, we're going to buy you. And they want free creative control. So we'll see what they come out with. Like, we got to see what they come out with. Again, is Microsoft going to put the money where their mouth is? We don't know. There's a lot of ifs with that announcement with those 5 studios. Now, going on to Sony. The thing I have an issue with Sony is that they had, whatever. The thing is my last thing about, they were saying about, people are saying that the devs mean they got better devs than Sony. No, the problem I have is that you're still waiting. And now there's a little bit of if you were at 100% uncertainty, now you're at probably 85% uncertainty because you still can't play studios. I can't play studios. I can't put Playground games into or Ninja Theory disc in my game and play it. Like, you can't play studios. And I don't know what Microsoft's creative vision is for these studios. If they're going to start shoving more Windows 10 bullshit down their faces, who even knows when these games come out? So, again, we don't have answers. They have a good direction. I'm glad he bought those studios. I'm glad they got more games because, like I said, because if you remember going into E3, people were like, oh, Gallagher's going to come out on stage and show what he's working on. That guy just signed his contract. He's not been working on games at all. They didn't even put him out on stage. These guys, people thought they were going to have a new studio with a game. No, man. He went on stage this E3 and just showed fucking logos of studios. Like, yeah, they are. We bought people. That was basically the announcement. We bought people. We bought studios. He didn't have any IP. He didn't say what the studios are working on. He's like, hey, we have a couple of IP, like Perfect Dark, like this. And those studios are going to watch. And those studios, you don't want to see me at the end of the Bethesda reveal. I got kind of pissed because I don't I'm just like, you got to take it for what it is. We need to chill the fuck out. All right. He went on stage and said they bought studios. Thank you very much. Okay. Now get to work and show me what the fuck they're working on and show me some gameplay. And then when's that? That's a year and a half from now, 2 years. You want to stick around and bleed green? Do it. And I'll play multiplats. Get ahead. Because you already bought the console. That's fine. But you cannot try to entice people saying, yo, go buy an Xbox. Go. That ship is gone. There's no way. And the problem I have with this whole thing, and I was going to talk about the Sony, and then now I'm getting triggered. The problem that I have with this whole thing with the Xbox console is that developers are not going to develop for your platform if you don't have a fucking living, breathing presence in the gaming industry. Okay? Nobody is going to come to your 29 million install base when there is 80 million out there and another one that's going to surpass you in over a year. Okay? And that's the thing. I'll show you. The thing is that we will. You can't do that. Like you're not going to get the developer mind share if you are not out there selling hardware. And what Microsoft is trying to do is try to trick developers to say, well, you're not developing for the console, which I know is not the majority out there of out there, but you're developing for the Xbox platform, which now includes streaming probably to your mobile phones and to PC. So you have a big group of people that you are now developing for. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to throw smoke in the developers' eyes to make them look and try to invest in Microsoft's platform by trying to throw PC and mobile into the arena because they are not successful at the console. It's you can't beat them, join them type of deal. And that's my biggest issue is that, I want, like when the X1 came out, like I bought a whole bunch of them. I convinced my parents, like, you need to have one of these. My brother, I was like, you got to get one of these. Like a salesman, like, yo, in Best Buy, yo, you should pick this up. These games are incredible on there. That argument is done. So if you're trying to do that war on Twitter, trying to get people to buy this stuff, there's a less and less reason to buy it. And if you keep pumping out games like God of War and games of that caliber and Ghost of Tsushima, just looking in those games, people will go buy your console. And that builds the install base. And do you think we would see Fortnite on the Switch if the Switch was not selling? No. You think Wolfenstein would be on the Switch? Fuck, what did they just say was on the first time on the Switch? Was like Trials HD the first time on the Switch? Like, they didn't put, like, people putting games on the Switch because the shit is selling. That's why. Developers are not stupid. They're not going to take 100, 200 people, throw them in a room and pay them money to go develop for a platform that's in third place. And say, oh, well, I hope this sells. It's like, but wait a second. There's a console out there that has global appeal. I could sell to 90 fucking people. 90 millions. That's who you're developing for. And Microsoft sitting now and telling everybody to wait is just going to kill them when Sony comes out next generation. I agree with Mooch. Mooch is totally right. They should have took some of that money. And they should have taken it and bought some third-party exclusives they should have taken that and made some third-party exclusives to soften the gap as their game. Like, you just came out and announced studios, dude. Like, you should have came out and announced some studios and announced maybe Tomb Raider. Like, this would have been a perfect time to say Tomb Raider is a 1-year exclusive. Fuck, just say 1 year. But at least you have some exclusive content on your platform to kind of soften the blow and the weight. That's what Sony did. Sony did tons of marketing, indie exclusives, and just thrown balls to the wall to make games look like they were exclusive and got exclusive content while their games were being built, while God of War was taking 5 years. It's a smart management of studios. Microsoft, on the other hand, is just sitting there with their hands in their pocket going, shucks. Aw, shucks. We're here, though. Wait for us. Wait for us, everybody. We got all these fans in here. You love me. You buy the console for me. You love me. I'm such a nice guy. Stick around. Stick around. Hands in pocket. Yeah, I got a couple of studios. Here's another carrot for you guys to talk about for the next 2 years. I want to see on list. Ninja Theory's game. Yeah. He did his job. He gave all you guys, he wet your lips a little bit. You were thirsty. He took a big tall glass of water and made you take a sip. And now you're just gonna wet your lips now for the next year or two and hope that these games that come out of these studios are the games that bring you back. But that's what E3 was. That's what E3 was for them. It was a great show. Microsoft was confident. They showed what they had to show, and they did what they had to do. But everybody needs to take a chill pill. They didn't win no fucking Emmys. They didn't win no fucking Grammys. They basically said, we're sticking around. And it's Windows Gaming, to be clear. It is not the Xbox console, or it's the Xbox platform. So the console doesn't look any prettier from now. There's no reason to go buy an X, and probably no reason to buy an S unless it's really cheap. And I say invest in a PC, go get a graphics card, and enjoy all the sweet, sweet, sweet deals on Steam and go milk the shit out of Microsoft on the piece of shit Windows 10 store. And don't pay for Xbox Live. Sign up for Game Pass for $10. You can play their games. And there you go. And that's what, and there's your Xbox right there. You don't need a console. You don't need updates. You don't need to pay for Xbox Live. You could use your Xbox controllers. It's done. Fuck, you buy a laptop, the gaming laptop, now you got a Switch. You got an Xbox Switch. It's seamless. Chat on your phone. It's all there. There is no reason to own an Xbox unless you prefer or fanboy for it. But you cannot go around and sell the Xbox because the Xbox right now has zero value. They've said it. They don't care about the console, not about Xbox, about the console. It is just a medium for them to reach you on the TV. And now, the problems that I had with Sony was that Sony had an opportunity to announce release dates. I don't understand how you have a deep dive into the 4 your games and you don't announce release windows or release dates for it. I don't give a shit what kind of fucking movie type you're showing. I don't care a shit if you're in the church or if you're in the goddamn outside and with fucking Sid. They should have had release dates with that stuff. And I have to say, the worst showing I thought was that Death Stranding. And Jeff Keighley has to get out of Kojima's ass and tell him to hurry up and make the fucking game and tell us what the fuck it's about. Because I think he has fucking constipation because Jeff Keighley's so far of Kojima's ass. So, that game, Norman Reedus walking around with fucking cargo. You gotta be kidding me. That's not a no deep dive. It looked all right. We don't know what the hell it is. But, you know, that was a bad showing. And the fact they didn't have release dates for Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us 2, I think was a misstep. Because I thought the message from Sony was going to be, Microsoft's talking about stick around for 2 to 3 years. We might make some games. We will have some games, for whatever they might be. And Sony could be like, here's the here and now. Go get it. And they didn't do that. Instead, they just showed trailers, amazing trailers, gameplay. I'm sorry, not trailers, gameplay of the games, but didn't have release dates or release windows. And that's the problem that I had with them. They had an opportunity to talk about the here and now. And instead, they sat back with their scotch and fucking, what's his name? What's that guy's name? I don't fuck his name. Anyway, the guy with the bad teeth. And sit back with his scotch and ice, and I'm going to take you on a journey. All right. I understand you want to present it as a movie and get us emotionally involved in it. It's still a fucking game. And it still needs to know when it's coming out. We need release windows. We need to know the plan. And yeah, maybe they show it at Paris Games Week, but maybe they show at PSX. And they do have other shows. But again, wait, this is fucking E3. I was the Sony church. You're right. This is E3. This is where you show your games. If you're not going to show your fucking games and release dates at E3, then get the fuck out of E3. How do you go to E3 without release dates? Or if you have one, it's all on fucking February 22nd, 2019. The fuck is that? Every game is coming out on February 22nd? That's what's coming out, every game? Come on now. And I know that they got other shows, but again, wait to E3. Wait to this. Wait to that. Wait. If you're not ready to showcase your game, then come on. Yeah, exactly. It's the first day of Ragnarok. It'll be hilarious. It was all February 28th, and it wasn't like or 29th, and it was not a leap year. There'll be some bullshit right there. Oh yeah, games are getting delayed. But even so like yeah, it's like even like I just don't understand how you don't have like release date. Like I thought they were gonna have release dates like basically show their lineup. Now again, they did announce Days Gone release date. So they did show that, and that wasn't on stage, but that was a previous thing that they did announce a release date, which again, February 22nd, again, or 20th or whatever, 25th or whatever. So, but I just think that Sony missed a huge opportunity at E3 right after Microsoft's conference where they could be like, here's the here and now. Now, could they be getting too complacent? Maybe sitting back, deep dives, all this other stuff. But again, we know they got the studios. You know, probably Horizon 2 is being worked on. You know these games are coming out. Just like we knew Halo, Gears, and Forza. We knew that those games are coming out. Now Sony has their studios with their games coming out. And he said it, like, I'm not going to be banged. Maybe he's waiting for the holiday. Maybe they're waiting for But again, I'm not here to create fantasy stories. I hate doing that because that just leads to disappointment. But if it's E3 and you're doing a deep dive, Sony should have had release windows, fuck, even a season. Come in winter, come in spring, come in summer. And I know it doesn't mean anything because at PSX, they said that Dreams was supposed to come out in the spring. Fucking Dreams wasn't even on stage. Instead, it was like between, they had some fucking like animated thing going in between their clips. Like it was some filler bullshit. But yeah, I'm not staying too long on this thing. But it's just, I think, yeah, and they do have more conferences coming up. But again, like, you know, we're waiting. I just don't like, I thought if they were going to focus on those 4 games, I knew that Death Stranding was not going to have no fucking release date. I knew that. Hold on a second. Like, who knows? Like that whole Kojima thing is all, it's so fucking weird. Who knows? He might do something with Jeff Keighley. Jeff Keighley might want to have that release date shown on his gaming awards. They are such lovers. Like, my God, they should, instead of Ellie kissing, they should have fucking Jeff Keighley and Kojima digital versions of them kissing, because those guys, it's fucking ridiculous. All right, I don't know what's going on with those two, but they seem to be in such cahoots that he probably is holding off some more shit for the gaming awards at the end of the year. I don't know, but it's just whatever. It's too much. And you know, I just wish that they showed some release dates to those games because they looked amazing. The Last of Us 2, could that be an end of next holiday? Could that be? It's not going to come out in the spring. Yeah, but oh yeah, I'm just, and you know what? Chris Jones makes an excellent point. No, Gamiac, I'm not inviting you in yet because I'm gonna probably head out. No, you see what? I say it. I'm not getting sending out the link right now because I'm gonna have to go because I just wanted to just do this for a little bit. I don't want to turn this in an hour and a half. I got to go make dinner. But so Sony, yeah, Chris Jones makes a point. Stop running. What? You don't agree with me on any of this stuff? Sony could do no wrong. Good times you have got what, and that's what I have to say. Chris Jones, you are correct in that you're not thirsty on that because you're playing the games now of other things, so you could give them a little bit of a pass. Okay, I understand, and those games are really incredible, and they're adding the new game plus to and I got to change my headset too if I get you on there because I have everything on mute. But the last thing I wanted to touch base before I go is Nintendo. Oh my God. What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? That show. Oh my God. Like, I was happy for Super Mario Party. Don't let me get my bot out. My smooth bot, whatever the hell it is. But what was I about to say? See, Addict, made me lose my train of thought. Maybe I should get your ass in here, but then I'm not gonna make dinner. Fuck. Oh shit, what the hell's this? The hell? Oh my God, pain in the ass. Hold on. Let's see how I get you in here. I didn't want to turn this into the fucking episode, but let me move my shit. Anyway, well, I'm gonna Gaming Addict must have used the power of the internet to knock the plug out of my fucking microphone. Holy shit. It came falling out of my microphone here. All right. I get in here. Yeah, and I agree. Like, Game Over, like, I understand. Like, they could have a roadmap. They could do all that stuff. But again, I evaluate it for what I can see and not what I predict. So like they they got the games. We know they got the stuff going on there. I just think that they missed out on another opportunity that that they could have used. They could have done I think they could have done a lot better with release, kind of saying like, oh yeah, they're talking about 2020, but we're talking about right now, guys. Because right now you can't make the argument going, except for God of War and the other games, you can't sit here and go, shit, man, I'm gonna be playing Last of Us this Christmas, like this holiday. Oh, I'm gonna be playing it in the spring. You can't say that yet until if they release, but we know it's coming soon. Well, we don't. Who knows? You know what I mean? That Last of Us looked absolutely incredible, but again, who knows? And yeah, I'll invite Addict in here. What I send? But yeah, like I know. I'll put it in the Twitter feed and our thing. Addict. There you go. I think that's it. But yeah. So I'm gonna make sure the sound's on here now. Hold on. I don't have all this fancy ass setup here. There we go. And make sure I'm still recording. Yep. So yeah, like that's the thing. Like I was going into Nintendo State, but yeah, about the Sony thing, like we could say that they're doing it. We'll see. I'm sure they'll have it lined up. But and here he is. What's up, Addict? You knocked you knocked out my fucking microphone thing. Used the power of the internet, whatever telepathic shit you did. Knocked out fucking microphone.
You can't hate on my the
wait, you're all like, yo, you sound like a clicker.
Is that better?
No.
Hold on, let me switch. I gotta switch the mode of my Yeti. Is that better?
No, I don't know why. It sounds like a clicker to me.
Oh my god.
Unplug the mic and plug it in again. Maybe it's like it better. See, my shit came out. Yeah, I was gonna have to go back.
What about that?
Nah, it's still clicky.
I don't
Maybe
know.
call back in. Call back in. See if that works. But anyway, we'll go talk about Nintendo stuff. But yeah, Nintendo, yo, man, that was some ass deep dive in fucking Super Smash Bros.
What about now?
Nah, it's still clicking. It's like maybe it's too loud. Maybe it's close to it, or maybe the gain's up too much.
Give me a second.
Yeah, I don't know. It's clicky. But I was just gonna finish. I was gonna go into Nintendo's thing. So like that Super Smash Bros. Man, have everybody in it. That's a huge roster. That's incredible. But the fact that they went to every single one to show the little updates that they made to each one, I know it's probably important to the Smash Brother fighting community, but it was pretty funny on how that that was pretty lengthy. Like, let's have a 45-minute show and 30 minutes of Smash Brothers. Again, that's the game that they got. And they kind of did a deep dive, sort of like what Sony did, and showing it. But again, it makes you want to go get a Switch. It makes you want to go get the game. And, it is what it is. Like, they're both Sony and Nintendo kind of had a little bit of the same approach where they're just going to show what their studios are working on and deep dives into their games. And, and Microsoft used a lot of third party on this stage and kind of sprinkled in their first party and their announcement of what studios they bought. And we'll have to see what the quality is coming out of them. But I just can't believe that Sony didn't have release dates for those games. And, we'll see when they announce it. If they announce it at Paris Games Week, maybe that's what they're going to do. Remember last year they changed their Paris Games Week because of the I think they moved it. They changed they were going to announce Days Gone. Oh no, Ghost of Tsushima. They were going to announce it. That's better. I'll lower this stuff. Yeah, so like they announced Ghost of Tsushima earlier at PSX, so not PSX, but at Paris Games Week because they wanted to do that. So yeah, to try to get in front of the X news, I guess. But Addict, what did you think? Did you saw those the Sony one and the Nintendo, whatever that thing was? Oh no, he's not. Yeah, he's still working on the mic. But anyway, yeah. So the thing is with the I thought so overall, I thought that third party I think was great. I think there are a lot of cool games coming out. I think they really have a lot of stuff coming out this holiday. Oh man, I'm gonna have to. It goes on here, it's like yelling and shit. But anyway, so yeah, I invited him in, but now he's muted now because he's yelling. Are you done? I'll just get his opinion, then I'll wrap this up. Oh shit, I know, unmute him. Uh-oh. There you are. Are you back? Hello? You coming in here and ruin my mojo? Is he a gaming addict? Oh, he's still fixing this shit.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, now you're better. There you go.
It's my wireless headset, man. When I use it for some reason, I have a shout out to Playtronics. So send me another one, so I'll have to wait for that one.
Is that the 800?
The 800s work great on my Xbox, but they're a Windows PC too. So when I put them on the Windows, everything's good unless I'm using this Yeti with it. Then it gets like a glitchy sound on it.
Oh yeah, make sure too that your audio is coming out from the headphone and not the Yeti. Sometimes defaults to say that the speaker comes out of there too. I know that happens sometimes. But anyway, I was asking because I'm not going to stay that long, but I want to get your opinion on now that you saw all three shows. Like, what did you think?
I think whoever decided to do the church thing for Sony needs to probably get fired.
That was so weird.
I mean, I've been told by some people that were there that was cool, but then I've been told by other people that was there that it was more of a nuisance than it was cool.
Yeah, I think I was listening to the Cognito. I think Cognito was saying it like how one of the guys from Iron Lords that I was listening to them and they were saying like how they just saw The Last of Us. It looked amazing, and then it's like, all right, like they just broke the we're moving intermission.
I mean, at the end of the day, Microsoft's still got a long way to go. Sadly,
I know.
I don't think they're going to be where they need to be. I do think that we'll get an announcement for Ninja's game next year.
I agree. Yeah, I think so. I think we'll see what some of them are working on. Definitely Fable.
Well, no, I don't think Fable will probably coming out till maybe a year or two.
No, but they'll show it. They'll probably tease it next year. He was almost said it on the stage.
I think that was kind of like, I think he just did that because people know it is. Like,
yeah,
I think that's the only reason he did that. He kind of made it seem like he was going to announce it this year. He's like, we'll talk about that later. Dude, I was a little heated on that. I ain't gonna even lie. I was like, fuck you, Phil.
I know. Like that's the thing that just gets me is when they do that carrot shit. Like, I'm like, guys, you need to kind of like, there's no time to wait, man. And I was just like, they could have teased it, he could have showed it, but I guess they just wanted to make it about the studios and showing that they're growing. Which
the studios are nice and cool and everything. One of the things that the studios do is it shows that we're going to be getting new IPs. I don't know why they bought Compulsion. I just don't. Like, I sit here and I think and I think and I think. I can't.
It was indie. They're indie.
Unless Compulsion, I wouldn't be like, what I would do if I was them, and I want you to answer this question real quick that I asked Critic earlier before you leave, is if I feel like the best case scenario here, you let Ninja make whatever they want because they do have they got a good track record, so you can't take that from them. you let the initiative make whatever they want because you literally hand built this studio. And when it comes to compulsion, give them Banjo, see how they do.
I think that's a good idea. Give them one of your IPs to work on. Probably Banjo or something like that. I don't
think that would take a lot of demand. And I'm not saying that studio's not talented. That's not even remotely. I'm just saying that they got one IP that was in preview, no less. So they had a long time to work with it. They do have a decent, nice. They have access to Microsoft's engines now. They have access to their marketing team. Give them Banjo. Let them make a Banjo game. Because I feel like out of all the stuff they have, or MechAssault, let them make something that
they could do something. I don't know how big they are. They're like 100 people because they're indie guys. They started with their preview, right?
Give me 5 seconds. I'll Google it.
Yes, yeah. Because I was trying to look up how big those studios are. Like we know Ninja Theory is not super big, but now I think they got bigger to like 100.
And We Happy Few is a good game, but the thing is by the time the good shit started happening, it was too late. It was in preview too long.
Yeah, but the thing is that as we've seen with studios like not Playground, but Playground working on a Fable or Horizon being made by Guerrilla, these studios could kind of do whatever they kind of, if they really have a passion for it, they can make whatever they want. Like they might not make a first person survival game, and I would think though that Ninja Theory would make basically a narrative single player game because that's kind of what they do.
And if you look at it from a standpoint on what Compulsion makes, like We Happy Few, I think Banjo-Kazooie is a little bit more colorful than We Happy Few, but let's be real here, the art style is not completely different. Like they are similar. Like
is that a platform We Happy Few, or is it just kind of in a single play? Is it an open?
It's like
multiplayer?
It's like an open world that's like has a bunch of crazy.
Do you think they're just gonna let them keep that game going as like a service, kind of like Minecraft?
It depends on how good it does.
Because it is on PlayStation 4. They kind of slipped that whole Minecraft thing where now they kind of slipped it on the PlayStation. So anything they kind of do with it,
as long as it does good, then it's cool to keep updating.
Yeah. It was something interesting.
If they give them something like Banjo and they smash Banjo out of that's the part where Microsoft annoys me. Is like
how they manage those studios.
Force a studio that's proven itself to keep making the same game.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, I understand 343, but like when Bungie proved themselves to you multiple times, you should have let them make Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people give Sony a lot of credit for that. I think Last of Us is the thing that opened the door up for that.
Sure.
For some reason, I feel like if Last of Us wouldn't have came out and been a commercial success,
who knows? Maybe Horizon wouldn't have come out if.
I don't think they would have gave creative freedom.
Exactly.
I think that's when they open up that we don't have to let them make this.
Come on, they made Killzone 4. Basically, Killzone was up to Killzone 4, and they're like, this shit's not. They should have known it wasn't hitting after Killzone 2. Killzone 2 was pretty good. I guess Killzone 3.
I mean, and look at God of War. They let them throw a Hail Mary with that shit.
Yep.
That could have easily have came out and been a complete failure than it did a success. But they had a creative, good team.
I know. And you could see I remember him reading the reviews, he was really crying.
He really honestly had
it was a risk. It was a risk. And the thing is and
it turned out to probably be one of the best games that PlayStation's ever made.
Yeah. And I think Sony's been really good right now, but trying to get everybody kind of emotionally involved in their developers and their actors into their studios, just like a movie studio. Like they're running their stuff kind of like you get emotional into the brand and what the artists are creating. Not only just the art, but the people that are making the game. Where I think that Microsoft is kind of, they're getting a little cold, with their kind of presentation. Like Rod Ferguson is really cool. But and then they try to they tout out what's his name, the other guy from 343, and then but Sony's been kind of doing the chairs and just basically sitting out and doing deep dives into their games.
I have a question. I asked Critic this.
Mm-hmm.
All the studios they bought, all the studios they have. If you could give any IP that they own to a studio to make, what would it be?
I would give I would tell. See, I don't know what since that guy, what's his name? The guy that's doing the collective. Him, I would say. I hope he's doing a Perfect Dark game because they need a kind of shooter action. Is it called Initiative? The Collective.
Yeah. No, the Initiative.
The Collective is the people that make We Happy Few, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, the Compulsion is
Compulsion.
Something.
Who
Who
knows the
cares?
collective? I don't know. Compulsion. Okay, the initiative. They call the initiative. That's what they're called.
Something like that.
Okay. There was some. Yeah. Anyway, I would say that studio to make. They need another tentpole game like an action adventure kind of. It has a multiplayer drive. I would say give them Perfect Dark, and kind of redo that. The other thing is the other thing I would think of is I think there really is a place for somebody. Somebody has to make a Mech Assault.
You know who I think should make a Mech Assault, and I know you're probably gonna laugh. I think 343 should make a not 343 Coalition should make a Mech Assault.
Oh,
imagine like the Gears mechanics with all the gore and shit with mechs.
The hell, they even had kind of mechs in Halo 3 that they could have turned. They even tried to turn that into like a mech assault. Like you could have a gameplay mode where you just have those the walkers in Halo 3. Like they need. I don't understand because that is such an untapped genre. People love friggin' mechs. People got all crazy for Titanfall. Like you could do a mech assault with destruction from the cloud, or whatever. Or if that shit works.
Compulsion could make a Recore too.
Yeah, like one of those guys. I don't know what they're gonna do with these studios. My whole thing
They
now
need
is
to buy
thinking
the
about it.
people who've been making Killer Instinct and just keep doing that because that's a fighter. I think people would enjoy Killer Instinct.
Yeah,
it's okay to have studios like that make one game.
Yeah, I don't know because the thing that kind of just gets me nervous about it is that they did release a lot of studios, and I'm not just talking about Fable like the Lionhead, but they got rid of a lot of the little guys. Like they got rid of Twisted Pixel, they got rid of the guys that did the Max Brotherhood, they got rid of those guys, they got rid of the guys that did Project Spark. Like they got and they kind of used this purchase to kind of fill in a little bit of those guys because those were kind of like indie studio type games, but they were giving arcade games and stuff.
Well, I'm sure that they're going to, since these studios are bought, I'm sure they're going to be trading people from other studios to get a good foundation on every studio.
We'll say, I hope Phil and the Booties and all that other stuff do it, but again, it's their studios. Two of them have good kind of following legacies.
And,
we'll say
no shade or anything, but Crap Gamers said that Sony only has like 2 or 3 good studios and the rest are average. And to a point I do agree with them, but when you have 3 studios that make we're talking
they're making multiple games.
But let's be real here, besides Naughty Dog, the rest don't make hit after hit after hit. But you're building that foundation to where those 3 studios, that's all you need. Because they're making 2-3 games individually.
Yeah, but did you see Ghost of Tsushima? And I don't know how it plays. I don't play it, but look at that, and those are the guys that made Infamous.
Yeah, I got to see more on that game. I liked what I saw, but there were a couple things that looked real suspect. Like at the beginning,
the animation.
Yeah, not even that. When you ran up to the 3 people, that didn't seem like logical gameplay. Because he just cut that dude's head off at once. And maybe that's like an ability that you get, but it didn't seem like your average gameplay. But no, it was the first hit. Do you mean tell me he did an execution on the first hit?
No, the guy that kneeled on the ground and then he cut his head off and then stabbed him.
I'm talking about the first one that walked up to him. That was the third dude he killed.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But that could just be a maxed out character that he did like a draw.
Oh, when he did like a one slice and he just sliced him, the guy's like, oh. He's like,
I don't know if every fight you like the 1-on-1 fight with the tree and shit going. That was
God, that was a scene. It looked like a fighting game. Like it went to the side, and I was like, "Is this like a fighting game?" Like, I kind of wasn't feeling the angle a whole lot, but I'm sure you'd get used to that pretty quick. Yeah. Oh my God, with the leaves, I was like, "Are those leaves really moving?"
Is those leaves really going to be like that in PlayStation?
I don't know, man. That's what I don't know. That
didn't seem like, dude, like. I was watching a Press Starts podcast, their reaction. Look, I don't agree with 100% Alex says all the time. I don't. But when he was like, I don't think it's gonna look like that on console. When you look all the shit that was going on, lighting is supposed to be one of the hardest things in games. The lighting was on point. The reaction of the fire looked great. I was like, that
there was some kind of sweet. There were definitely, I think, some things that they created. I know in The Last of Us, they definitely Last of Us 2. There was some things I think
the highlight of the whole show was last.
There was some things that were choreographed that they probably created for
like
that.
when Homeboy threw her across that counter. That had to have been.
Yeah, I'm like, is that I don't
because the moment she got up, like. You know, another thing that I know was scripted when she was under that and she shot that chick in the head and then she just gets snatched. That was had to have been scripted.
Yeah, exactly. Like maybe if they grab you to do that, like I don't. It goes into that kind of mode.
What it is like Sony, they disable the hub.
They had the hub in The Last of Us. They had the hub on.
They had the hub on when they looked through certain shit. You don't see like.
But I saw when she had the she had the
arrows. She had the arrows.
Yeah, but if you look, they had a little icon there, and it looked like somebody, and it looked like you had to press like R1 to pull the arrow out. It was filling up, like it was one of those things where you hold the button and you see it fill up white. I noticed that when I watched it a second time.
People like
Far Cry-ish.
I made that statement and people were like going in on me. Oh, this is like, that's not a bad thing. That's what makes Last of Us is those intense moments.
But you know what?
If you want to get technical.
They did it in Uncharted though. Like some of those fights, the choreographed fights, those fights that you had, man, like even with the when you had some of those choreographed fights, I think when Nate
God of War had some of the craziest fights I've ever seen.
Yeah, like I couldn't believe I was controlling it. I'm like, I'm gonna put it past those are real.
They're like, Microsoft doesn't need to copy that formula, but they can definitely look at it. Like,
yeah, I know,
like,
but Gears of War, like,
imagine if Rise would have had like those intense moments.
I know, it's always imagined. I know, but like Gears of War 5, like that level of what that game looked like and how they shared the story, you need about a 2 more like that.
That's gonna be a smoke and mirrors, dude.
You think? It didn't look super that much better than 4. Like it kind of looked on the same level as 4.
Well, but Gears 5 looked amazing. So
Gears 4 looked amazing. Gears 4 did look amazing.
So
it did look amazing.
To be honest, there's not
the assets.
I mean, to be 100, the actual games that Sony showed, what do you think the release dates are if you were to give a window?
I think now that we don't have release dates, I'm kind of concerned with some.
I'm kind of thinking Death Stranding coming out next gen, dude.
Yeah, Death Stranding I don't think is coming out next year.
I think we'll see Death Stranding next year.
I think Last
is toss it up, but I think we'll see Ghost Stranding next year.
You think next year? See, I think that they'll have Ghost of Tsushima come out maybe in the fall of next year, or maybe kind of like that September time frame, and maybe Last of Us will either come out or be delayed to 2020 spring.
And I think it's going to come out on both systems.
Yeah, I think Last of Us might come out in 2020 spring, or they'll do it for next holiday.
Because the fact that, like, Last of Us...
It'll be cross-gen, though, Frog.
No, like, I highly doubt they're all going to be this gen, Frogs. Like, let's just be real. Look at Death Stranding, especially. They didn't really show anything on Death Stranding. Just him going over some ladders and carrying shit. That's all.
That like whole, I don't know what
they didn't have your standard gameplay reveal because that was all spliced.
That was so weird. Like I think that was the biggest disappointment I had at Sony's thing was if you're gonna do a deep dive, that was bullshit.
I think that
a deep dive.
It's like we had that conversation, Frog. What else could they have as a launch title for the PS5?
Well, they have Horizon 2. God of War 2.
I don't know.
God of War 2 is not going to take 5 years. I'll tell you that.
God of War's at least going to take 3 to 4.
Yeah, but it's not going to be 5 years. They got the assets already now. They got the world. Man, they'll just add shit to it and come out.
I mean, Horizon might come out around that time, but like, is a new IP that's getting its sequel going to be enough on launch? There's a lot of people who don't even know who Horizon is. Horizon's a great game.
Yeah,
I feel like they're going to. I feel like Last of Us. They're going to push Last of Us back to when around the time the PS5 comes out. It might even come out a couple months before the PS5. Just at the PS5, they're going to have a PS5 version of it too.
Yeah, they'll probably update their stuff. They're gonna do probably exactly how. The thing is, what they're gonna do is, I think that because they have the they're going to be rolling out these games. They are just going to roll into next generation, and they might have some games that just be made for the next generation. But like
Death Stranding's one of them. I do, especially after this year.
Nah, he has to give it on the 4 though. It will be playable on the 4. It'll have to be.
Is it playable this year at E3 though? I don't know.
I don't
anything
know. I
about
don't
that.
think so.
I'll ask Cognito when he's at E3. If it's not playable on the floor, which Crackdown wasn't even playable this year at E3. I don't know what's going on.
It's not Crackdown.
Cognito told me in the media outlet Crackdown was not there.
Oh my goodness!
But I'm gonna ask him. I'm gonna hit him up and ask him. This won't be backwards compatible. Are you saying? I don't know what they're gonna do with backwards compatibility.
Sure.
It might, but at the end of the day, Sony's shown me that they are about that life. They've said multiple times that they're not that they don't think they need to look in the. I mean, they have multiple interviews where they have said that they don't see that. I think it's going to be backwards compatible, but if it's not, it wouldn't surprise me.
Nah, it will. They will be. They have to be because it's the same architecture. These are the
same people that literally let us listen to banjos for 2 hours because they're let's be real here. They are so far ahead in the canoe that they are not worried about anything coming and hitting them.
Well, I think they slowed it all down. Like I said earlier, I was like, Microsoft's like, hey guys, calm down. We got something. Future, stay with us. And Sony's just like, chill, sit back with your drinks. We're gonna go explore these games. I'm gonna take you on a journey. And like Sony's just slowing it down.
Here's another thing: if they make a PS5. They're going. I get the way Sony thinks. They're going to want you to double dip. Why you think they don't do backwards compatibility? Why you think they always relist all the the PS3, PS2, and PS1 games? I guarantee you, they would rather not do backwards compatibility and resell you the same shit next gen.
Well, they might. I can see it, but I don't think they will fall for that though. I don't think.
I mean, they might. Hopefully, they don't. But
there's a reason why they can't support the PlayStation 3. There's a reason why. Because think about it. PlayStation 3, when it first launched, had backwards compatibility with the 1 and 2. Like they had the hardware, and then they
ended up stopping it because it cost too much money.
Yeah, but the 2 also was compatible with the PlayStation 1, so they always had backwards compatibility. The only time they didn't have it was the 3 to the 4 because of the difference in the hardware. So Microsoft was the one that had to do the software implementation because they didn't have backwards compatibility at first. The 360, they had to do that software stuff because Sony had the hardware built in. So Sony has been doing backwards compatibility. It just wasn't with the 3 because Kutaragi was the Frankenstein. He went crazy and just said, I'm going to make the cell processor. It's going to make you, it's going to do all this stuff.
It blew up in their face.
It blew up in their face because and again, it was the lower install. The install base was lower. It was too expensive, and developers were already on board with dev kits for the 360, and that kind of took off from there. But that was, and the worst thing I remember saying it. All Microsoft had to do was come out on stage and go, "Everything you bought on the 360 will work on the next Xbox." Drop the mic.
I get what you're saying, Frog, but at the end of the day, when a company gets too much of themselves, and Sony's getting it, they've had that phases right now. They're showing those phases right now. Sometimes they think they're
church, and we're going to take you.
Yeah. Sometimes they think they were literally. Let's be real here. They were comparing themselves to Christianity with you don't need to go to church this Sunday because you went today. That is some of the most craziest shit I've ever heard.
I was okay.
Yeah, it's funny, but they feeling themselves. And sometimes when you feeling yourself like that, you don't think
they're just slowing it down. That's what they're doing. They're slowing it down.
Let's be real here. It
was pretty good. No, if you were in last place, you're not taking people to church and then moving them somewhere else. They probably wouldn't even show up at the church.
I mean, it's whatever.
I know what you're talking about.
I'm going to be playing it regardless because Last of Us looks too lit. But
oh my god, that looks insane. That looks like so brutal. And they're just taking the seat back and they're making it more mature. And
that's what Microsoft needs to do. We need more mature games, man.
That's where I think Microsoft's going in a different direction. They're going to accessibility and reaching to as many people as possible. So
I've been told this Fable won't be the most rated end thing you've ever.
Oh, I hope. I think
until
they confirm Fable.
I know. I don't understand why he teased it and at least didn't confirm it. Like this shit. You know how much more better it would be in the news right now if he at least announced the Fable.
Yeah, I know. Because it's still announced Halo Gear. Because now we can't escape the Halo Gears and Forza. Oh no, Frog's coming in. I gotta make
Frog
dinner.
in the house.
You guys, I gotta go make.
What? Nah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, Frog, get in here.
I kind of agree with a lot of stuff you guys are saying. I really do. But everything we saw on that floor they was playing was on a PS4, and it was gameplay. I don't think anything they showed was video. Like Ghost of Tsushima was gameplay. And the thing is, I think people underestimate PlayStation. After seeing games like God of War, after seeing games like Infamous, after seeing games like this gen, we've seen games that can prove that everything we've seen was in game. Those are current generation games.
But let's just be real here, though. Like
those are current generation games, and I think what's going to happen is they're going to come at the end of this generation, and they're going to be cross-platform games where they'll look better on PS5. That's what I agree. But those are current generation games. Those are all current games. Like when they showed me like God of War and Horizon before, I would have never thought. But when I saw Last of Us 2, I was like, that's believable. When I saw Ghost of Tsushima, I was like, that's believable. Everything they showed me was believable being played.
It's not that it's not believable being played. It's just it looks like spikes being ripped out of the game.
Yeah, I think they did vertical slices. I agree with that.
Like I'm not saying the gameplay
just looked. What it's gonna look.
The gameplay looked inconvenient if you're actually playing the game. Like it's like I said, if you look when he fought those 3 people, he dropped the first dude and didn't even attack it. Like
that was a vertical slice. We could tell.
Yeah,
graphically, everything we're seeing.
Well, I'm not talking about graphically. When have you guys ever known me to like hype graphics? I don't.
Yeah.
I'm talking gameplay. In gameplay, I like the stealth mechanics that's put in that game. I'm a huge stealth fanatic. I like the overall atmosphere. The atmosphere it literally made you feel like you were in the future era. But like that gameplay, I'm not saying the gameplay ain't gonna be good. I'm just saying that what I saw, like you could tell right there they did disable the HUD for that particular thing.
Oh,
you couldn't
see
see
the presentation. Definitely,
yeah, and that's like, is the swords break? Like there's things that you need to know about, especially doing nothing but swords. Like I need to know more things about that game. Like it looked great. It looked phenomenal. I was all about it. Last of Us.
I didn't know what it was, but I'm sold on Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, Ghost of Tsushima.
I'm sold on Last of Us. I'm definitely sold on Spider-Man. I was definitely sold on it before.
I like that they showed all the enemies because that was the question people were asking about.
Graphically looks good. You just look like you're kind of a messenger, and it's going to be a hard. That's what I kind of take it as. But Death Stranding, that freaking engine they're using, Horizon Zero Dawn, man, those guys created an amazing engine. Like that engine is amazing. So I'm interested in everything.
That's the reason that Microsoft can't keep up with them visually is because they don't make new engines.
Well, they said the Slipspace engine was a new one, right? That's for Halo.
That's going to be a new engine.
I think if you look at it, I think that's what's happened with Halo. Is after 5 they made a whole new engine, and I've been told that shit takes a couple years sometimes.
Yeah, it takes years, and I agree. Like I think that, like, to me, like as far as what you see in a conference, like Sony showed me stuff that I definitely am excited to play. Microsoft, and as far as a conference, I think their conference was a B. Like it wasn't as well paced as Microsoft had the best conference. It was so well paced, but as far as
the games Sony had them beat. Like
it's
not even.
But if you're talking about games I want to play, like Microsoft on stage showed me a lot of games I want to play. But the thing is, I can play them on my PS4. So to me, they won.
They showed the most games.
I say they won because they had an amazing press conference.
Yeah, because if Microsoft didn't show those games, like E3 would have been like it would be like, everybody just showed me that little few games.
They won in terms of playing a PlayStation, but when you put conference to conference. They just had some of the worst pacing I've ever seen.
People didn't like it. I'm looking at this.
Man. Like
YouTube Live at E3 voted, and Sony got an 8.
The only conference that, like, dude, Nintendo had a trash conference, and that was
Nintendo was horrible.
That was
awesome. I'm buying it.
Sony's right in front of those 3. Ubisoft had a better conference than Sony.
Yeah, Ubisoft had a great conference to me.
Besides the Just Dance bullshit at the beginning.
Just Dance. Ubisoft had good one,
Bethesda showed me good games, but their conference was horrible. But I want to play everything they showed me. Ubisoft, they had a great conference, and there's a lot of stuff I want to play. The only problem I have, and I don't know if anybody ever brought this up, this seems like September and October is packed of too many games, and a lot of them are going to fail. I don't know if you feel like that. Like a lot of games are going to fail this year. Feel like
I know.
next year, a lot of games are going to fail.
Yeah. Yeah, I
If
agree.
they stay at their
I agree with
launch
some of the
date.
stuff. Yeah. Well, February
Why are we
22nd.
getting an Assassin's
back
Creed
to my
game
thing.
this year? We don't need it this year.
It's Greek.
We don't need that this year. I'm like, you just created Origins, which is that game is hundreds and hundreds of hours. And don't get me wrong, the Assassin's Creed game coming out this year looks good, but I'm like,
There's a lot of people
you put it in
probably
the
haven't even touched
it's
it
like
yet.
you put it in
Yeah.
October like 2nd, and I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, dude.
I know.
It's coming out in
I
September and
think it's
October. Like,
ridiculous. But I'm gonna have to go, guys. I
Something's
gotta
not
go.
gonna make it.
His
I
goal.
got-
I'll
Hey, no,
talk
I
to you
just
guys
want to jump
later.
in and get my
No
other
problem, man.
2
We'll
bits,
talk
man.
later, though. Well, definitely, man.
Definitely.
Thank you again. So, thanks again for jumping on, guys. Again, this has been what grinds my gears. I gotta go make dinner. Otherwise, I'm gonna get yelled at. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks again for coming out, guys. Talk to you later.
Peace.
See ya.
Oh.